Right, what is up, players? It's WarbossTae. Welcome to my live stream for tonight. We're going to be adding some transfers and doing some basing, basically finishing off this Mark III Iron Armor squad of Night Lords to go with my Mark III squad of Iron Warriors. So I'm just going to show you what I've got so far, and then we'll get to the transfers. So here you might recognize him from my shorts videos. It's a Vexilla bearer, the banner bearer. He's got some lightning bolts and some transfers. The goal is I'm going to be doing various transfers on the knee pads. All of the guys in my squad are going to have black shoulder pads, black right knee pads, and this guy's got the brass chain from Forge World, or Green Stuff World, rather, and the 3 skulls. So the skull hanging off his waist, and the 2 skulls hanging down off his chest. And pretty pleased with how that came out. I also like the Night Lord's symbol off of the transfer sheet. I'm not sure if I linked this transfer sheet to the video, but it's got a lot of great stuff on it. So I'm gonna link it as a tagged product. If you check it out and purchase it for your Night Lords, then I'll be earning a small commission from my studio. I greatly appreciate it. So this guy you've seen already. The rest of my guys, I'll show you the finished ones. I've got 4 already finished. So here's the leader. I've got to do his plasma pistol, but that's all. And they're not all gonna have the same shoulder pads. In fact, these are the only 2 guys that are gonna have the lightning bolt caskets. The rest of them are gonna have different shoulder pads. And their knee pads also are gonna change. I'm really happy with how the lightning came out. I think it took me a while to learn that the best way to do lightning is to just let it be fat and messy, and then let it clean up the lines, basically, after you're done with it. So I might as well do his plasma now. I'm going to use Frost Heart so that it stays in line with the rest of the blue that we've got going on. Frost Heart is a contrast paint, so it should look pretty good. The white paint that I'm using as an undercoat is Pro Acryl's Bold Titanium White. When you put a contrast paint over it, it looks pretty nice. So there you go, instant plasma weapon. Yeah, like I said, I really like the Night Lord symbols on the shoulder pads, as well as the different symbols on the knee pads and the shoulder pad. That's what we're going for. This is another finished guy. Most of them are going to have this casket with the Nostrum rune on the inside. I wanted to do this live stream vertical rather than horizontal, but I broke my phone. I have to get it fixed and replaced. The screen is cracked, so that's kind of messed up my whole operation from my studio. I'm gonna get it fixed, but in the meantime, I'm having to live stream off of the iPad, which is not as fun, and I don't think it's as good for my outreach. But we'll let it go for a little bit, and hopefully we'll get some people in the chat as we get moving here on a Wednesday night. And all right, let's move on. So most of them are gonna have their shoulder pads done already. I've got one guy that needs a Night Lord symbol, but most of them I've already cut out the symbols that I want to use from the transfer sheets, and I've placed them on the bases. So basically it's going to be knee pad, and shoulder pad. Now these small ones, they're so tiny for the knee pad designs. Like, this is such an extra step, but I don't know, I think it's going to look good. So let's do it. Yo. Ah, what the? There's this giant mosquito eater flying around. Oh my God. He landed on my mat for just a second out of frame. Oh, dude. So gross. Yeah, this giant mosquito eater earlier, before I started the stream, he just and landed right there like a big tyrannid. Horrifying. Like, I know they don't bite, and they're actually good for your house because they get rid of mosquitoes and other kind of pesky bugs, but they just look so freaky. All right, this is like Legions Imperialis epic scale work that I'm doing here. You can see I've got two little mini transfers right there. We're gonna do the shoulder pads. It's too bad because when you look at the Horus Heresy, the book with the Night Lords in it, that has all the heraldry listed vertically, like some of the shoulder pads are so cool, like bloody spiders, and there's this screaming skull that I tried to do justice with the design over here, but the designs look so cool. And when you look at the transfer sheet that Forge World developed, I think they went to print after Forge World already had this, because all you get are these designs, and they're cool, but they're not, you know, they're not as great as some of the stuff in the Horus Heresy book. So what I've decided to do is make up for it by using these Nostraman runes with the caskets. Which chapter is that, Belfegor? Hello! It is Night Lords, Horus Heresy era. My idea for this squad is that they're actually loyalists that go to the Ulanor drop site, so I could use them with the new Saturnine box coming out with the Mark II Marines. And because I do want to paint a bunch of like not unification era, but like Great Crusade era Night Lords. I want these to be like Terran veterans that were kind of with the Legion before Conrad Kurtz came, and all the nutters from Nostramo were inducted into the ranks. So like basically soldiers. The cool thing, I was doing like a lot of research on the Night Lords, and the original Terran Night Lords were pulled from like the prisons and the jails and like the really bad places. They're like basically criminals, just like the Nostraman ones, but I think there's a different culture, right? When you're pulled from the prison sinks in the Appalachian Mountains or wherever, and you're told like, hey, fight for humanity and Earth and the Emperor, and then you go into space and become Space Marines. Like, there's a little bit of a different culture of like the redeemed, fallen sinners, as opposed to like the Nostromo guys who are just like, you know, thugs and killers and gangsters that were elevated to the ranks of the Astartes. I don't know, I'm just waxing lyrical, guys. This is finicky work, and I'm trying to keep my mind off of possibly screwing up here. The thing with these transfers is they're so small, and they're like folding in on themselves. Here we go. So I found that when doing transfer work, you've got your brush hand and you've got your tweezer hand, right? So the best way to do it, so to minimize the folding, is that you place the tweezer hand down, get the edge of the transfer onto the model, and then with your brush hand, you pin it down, the transfer part. So here, let me show you what I mean. And then you just pull the backing paper off, rather than trying to brush the transfer onto the model. Because what that does is it makes the transfer slide off of the paper, and then sometimes you're brushing it onto the model, and then it folds behind the backing paper or on itself, and that's like That's my biggest fear, is that I spend, $40 on an awesome Legion transfer sheet from Forge World, and then you screw up the actual application. You have to use more than you need, or more than you should. Okay, it's almost like upside down, but here we go. Wish me luck. Make it so you can kind of see. If I can, here we go. Deep breath. So this is what I mean. You got your tweezer hand. You're gonna place the transfer with your brush hand. A little bit of liquid on it. You're gonna slide the end off of the backing paper, and then just hold it in place. Why you take that? Do 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 do. God, I hope they didn't melt together. Oh yeah, look at that. Awesome, I'm awesome. So now we've got, this has never happened to me before, where I've got like two transfers, like basically making out. I'm gonna try to get the white one off, but now the white one's folded a little bit. This is stressful stuff for a Wednesday night. Oh, see, fudge. That's all folded on. So I think I'm gonna have to chalk this one up to a loss. I don't know how I can finagle this one back into a workable. Ouch. Oh, cringe. It's completely folded in on itself. See, this is what I mean. Like, it's rough, man. Especially these tiny transfers that are like knee pad size. What if I just do it like this? This is my new transfer design. They'll be like, whoa, what is that? What is that amazing, like, it looks like a flowy teardrop design. It's like, yeah, that's what I was going for the whole time, man. Okay, waste not, want not. Hey. Let's do, we only have 3 left, guys. So I've got, you might notice there are 9 painted. I've got a 10th one here that I plan to do as a full-on tutorial. They're pretty easy. What I was doing was making basically like test models out of these first 9. So now that I've gotten like the quickest and easiest way to batch paint an entire squad of these guys, I think I could do them pretty quickly now. So the test model video will be a lot of fun. It'll be really interesting to see if I can do it as quickly as I think I can. All right, so this is going to be on his right shoulder pad. Let's just get it a little bit wet there. Put it on the cap. Then we'll do his Night Lord symbol. I kind of want to do both of the knee pads at the same time. I just think it's the most stressful thing, man. These tiny little knee pad designs, they're such a humbug. They look good, but the thing is, I realize, like, when you're looking at these models from across the table, you're not going to see their knee pad designs. Like, if anything, you'll basically see some of the more decorative stuff. I want to do more too. I'm thinking of adding more hanging skulls chained up using the brass chain that I've got. It's a cool technique, so I'll be adding more of those probably, just to make them look a little bit more savage. I read this great story too of a Night Lord talking to an Ultramarine about the difference in their tactics. Like, the Ultramarine was bragging about how many soldiers, enemy soldiers, they killed to bring a planet into compliance. And the Night Lord is basically like laughing at him and mocking him, saying, like, you wasted all these people. You killed all these people needlessly when you could have done what we do. Just go in and terrify a population into compliance, and then you save all these lives, and you can fold them into your army. And basically said the Ultramarines' biggest sin is their vanity. Like they're so proud of how they do war. All right, here we go. I'm a big fan of the lore. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I really like the lore aspect of this game. It helps keep things fresh and fun. It gets you into the mindset of like actually playing these armies. Helps you when you're considering paint jobs or design for your miniatures as well. Okay, let's get the. Oh, I've got like an extra transfer there. Jeez, these transfers are so small. Okay, all I want to do is look at the Night Lord symbol, make sure it's straight on. I like to, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Night Lord symbols, the Night Lord symbols look a lot like 80s, 90s cartoons, which I think is the vibe of the Night Lords. So I'm using microset, and it's gonna take a minute, more than a minute, like an hour, to properly like soften these decals so that they fold and stick to the shoulder pad. What I'm doing is just pushing out any microset underneath so that the microset on top can do its job. There we go. And then any excess can be taken care of with another application of the microset. If you guys enjoy my work and would like to support my studio, I've opened up my channel memberships if you haven't heard. And they're a great way to support the studio for as low as $2.99 a month. You can become a channel member and gain access to a bunch of different perks like custom emojis and badges, and access to all of my digital downloads in the, I'm posting them in the Discord, but they're like paint trackers, project planners, calendars, recipe cards. I'm trying to come up with as many things as I would want as a painter to visually help me paint my miniatures. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you are a channel member, I hope you make lots of use of it. Where is this transfer? Look how tiny it is. It's like hidden on the end of my tweezers. All right, 3 transfers for this guy. So I saw he had some space on his leg armor. That's why I decided to give him a second tattoo, a second transfer here on his leg. Sorry guys, the angle is kind of funky. I'm filming off of my lady boss's iPad. If you weren't here earlier, my darling, adorable daughters, whom I was playing with, it's my fault. I'm not gonna blame my daughters, but I was wearing these shorts with very questionable pockets, and my phone just fell out and cracked against the hardwood floor, landed right on its side. So my phone is pretty much out of commission until I can get the screen replaced. And in the meantime, I'm gonna be trying to do what I can off of my lady boss's iPad here, but it is gonna be slow and rough going for the next couple of days. The Great Crusade is like hitting this big roadblock while I take care of that. All right, let's do these pain in the butt knee pad transfers. I think I want to get these last 3 guys done so that I can do the base work. Oh man, what a pain in the butt. Micro set is so good, but there's like almost no room to get this transfer off. So pin it down, then pull away the backing paper. Ah, Jiminy Cricket. At least these live streams are exciting. Every live stream is like an episode of ER. Whew. Never give up, kids. All right. Go a little bit higher, maybe. I'm using a hobby knife to adjust them once they're on because of the micro set, making it easier to glide around. These transfers are easy to manipulate once you get them on. The trick is getting them off the backing paper without them folding. See this little white hand transfer? I'll be very careful as I move it because it's sitting on some micro set on this cap here. Now I just gotta get a good grip on the transfer paper without grabbing the transfer itself because I don't want the transfer to fold in on itself. You guys ever watch The Hurt Locker? Jeremy Renner plays like a bomb disposal expert in Iraq or something, and that's how I feel every time I work with these tiny transfers. Here we go. Oh, I can't even see it. Where did it go? It's on my paintbrush. Oh, not ideal. Okay, let's get the transfer paper out of there. This whole live stream is a nerve-wracking experience. Oh my goodness. Oh. Ooh. Look at that. That was not fun. All right, now we can move it over. Exciting, but stressful. Yeah. Bro. Woo. Fun. All right. Two left. Here we go. Exciting times. The good thing is there's enough of these small size knee pad transfers that they can look different. You've got the hourglass, you've got the red hand or the white hand, depending if you want to go with the white version, the hourglass in white or red. They also have in black as well, but I don't think the black design is going to show up especially well. I think it might if I colored the armor like red, but I think it's just not going to show up on this dark midnight blue or the black armor. All right, this is kind of like my staging. This cap is like my staging area. I think I might be putting too much microset though, so let's actually try to do it without dipping it into the microset. We'll just use what liquid is on the cap. Yeah, thanks, Belphegor. I've been practicing. I've been at this for a while, so it's not like a new technique I'm trying out on camera. It is just, oh boy. These are smaller transfers than I'm used to dealing with. Like when you work with only the transfers for like shoulder pads or tanks, especially vehicles, then it's a lot easier than doing these knee pad transfers. But I think it's gonna look better. And you know what? At the end of the day, what looks best is what I want, because my goal is to list all of these on eBay as I finish them and bring in some income for the studio. So I want it to look good, I want it to be impressive, I want it to be accurate. That's why I'm not doing like, you know, pink Night Lords. I don't know how much of those I could sell on eBay. And I want them to like, I want these transfers to look like they've been painted on. You know, that's the goal with transfers. You want them to look legit. You don't want them to look like your toddler art project. Today was my son's last day in preschool, and they gave us these little like yearbooks with a photo album of all the kids, and I was so proud. As a Warhammer painter guy, I was so proud that he does so much art, and he sits at the art table and he makes these paintings and drawings, and like he doesn't even mention them when he comes home. You ask him like, "What did you do in school today?" I played in the sandbox in the playground. But he's been making some really cool little baby artworks. And it's funny because when you think about all the art projects that your parents saved when you were a baby or you were a kid, and you're like, "Mom, just throw that stuff away. Like that's baby stuff." I get it now. I get why parents keep those little scribbles. It's like, yeah, they're baby scribbles, but sentimental value. Hey, if you guys are writing comments and I miss them, it's because they're literally showing up like right here on the iPad for like a couple seconds, and then they disappear into the ether. So I think if you care to support my studio and want me to see whatever you're writing, and you can afford to spare like $1 for a super chat or a super sticker or whatever they're called, then that would really help my studio out. Oh man, I don't think I got this one down. I tried to paint it on. That was my mistake. I'm gonna see if I can unfold it. Go in clinically. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get it, but it's folding up all over. Just gotta stretch it out. Pix, man, I'm so happy you are a channel member, because I see that little gray drop of paint as a channel member next to your name. It's so cool to see, man. So stoked. How you doing, Pix? What are you up to? Yeah, Pix is a channel member, so if you want to really support my studio, you could become a monthly channel member, give you access to badges for your name and different emojis. I didn't know this, but like YouTube gives you so many emojis based on how many channel members you have. I mean, like, I don't want to say I didn't know this. Like, I just learned it when I was filling out all of the channel member perks. So the more channel members I get, the more emojis and stuff I can put out. I think that's pretty cool. I got some more already waiting in the wings. As we move on to our second to the last Trader Astartes. Hey, thank you, Meme Wazowski. Let me show you how I did it, brother. let me show you how I did it. Let's do a little mini lightning workshop because I'm really, oh boy, it's stressing me out putting these knee pad lightning bolts on. So I'm going to show you how I do a WarbossTae lightning bolt. Calidor Sky, Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White. We're going to do a lightning workshop right here, and we're going to use this guy. So let's put these finished ones off to the side. I use a wet palette, Army Painter wet palette. It actually helps me out a lot. You can just put your paint there and it'll be usable. You can drag it out so that you don't have to worry about your paint drying or being too clumpy when you take it like right out of the pot. So I'm gonna make two different areas for my blue and my white. And we'll do this here with this guy, right? Set all the transfer stuff to the side for a second. I wish I could zoom in on my iPad. I don't think, oh yeah, I can. Oh, hello. All right, so once I've got the Calidor Sky Blue, I'm gonna do a jagged, holy cow, look at that. Folded up Night Lord symbol, that's not good. Oh no, what happened to this guy? Hold on, class. Gotta pause real quick. Take care of this. What happened? What happened, Night Lord symbol? Gotta put some micro set to get this whole area wet again. I think I gotta choose a different model to do. Holy cow. Okay, I can see what happened. Like, it looks like the top part of the wing folded in. So I'm just gonna get enough micro set around and under to soften it up. Then I'm gonna pull it out with the hobby knife here. Yeah, that's weird. I've never had that happen where like a transfer folds in on itself after I've placed it. There we go. Just gently unfold it. The thing with using a hobby knife is it's great until it tears the transfer paper and then you've got this nasty tear. So I'm trying to keep it just gently. All right, I just got the alert that my iPad is at 5% battery. So if it does kick me off in a second, then apologies. Or maybe we can do it on the Sergeant. Yeah, that's enough space. Okay, so back to our lightning. Calidor Sky, and do a little bit of fork in action. There. So it's okay if it's a little heavy. You might feel like it's it's too heavy, it's ugly, it looks really bad. Don't worry about it. These lightning bolts clean up real nice. So now I'm taking my white, the bold acrylic white, and I'm gonna paint within the blue. Now, if you can make it as jagged as possible, that's good. Don't worry about it though. I'm purposely gonna make this part like pretty fat so you can see how I clean it up. Now, as you can see, it looks really white. I've pretty much covered the Calidor Sky. That's okay, the Calidor Sky is almost like a guide. It's okay if it's not there completely. Okay, Night Lord's Blue is what I use as my armor base. If you don't have it, Cantor Blue with some black paint mixed into it, perfectly suitable. It's exactly what it is. In fact, I just like to have the correct paint. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold in and push in the lines. So going from one side of the lightning bolt, this is where you can also make it really jagged. And then down here, I think I'm gonna clean up from the bottom rather than the top. And just make it as random and jagged as possible. And then you've got a forking good lightning bolt. This motherfucker looks real good. And that's basically how I did all the lightning bolts. Shoot, I think somebody left me a chat and I didn't see it. I didn't see that comment. Sorry, I was really focusing. I had some unpainted CSM laying around. Definitely gonna try it. All right, Meme Wazowski. I'm glad I inspired you. The base coat for these guys helps too. If you're gonna do Night Lords, do a Night Lords blue base coat, darken it down with known oil, and then that makes it like the perfect like canvas. If just Night Lords blue straight still looks a little too light. These guys say they're in midnight clad, right? So I really went with that aesthetic. I gave them the Night Lords blue base coat and then darkened it down a ton with the known oil. Known oil or Drakenhof Nightshade if you want it to be darker. With Cantor and known work. So what I do, and I'll show you this on the painting tutorial for this guy, is base coat everything in like use Cantor blue with a little bit of, if you have black paint, Abaddon black, do 2 parts Cantor blue to 1 part of Abaddon black. Mix that up because I've got Cantor blue here and you can see it's a lot lighter than the Night Lord's blue. So I add a little bit of black to Cantor blue. That's going to give you this color. Base coat your entire miniature in it, and then take your Cantor blue and do a dry brush so that it brings up some highlights. And then do the silver trim. As painful as it is to do trim, do the silver trim next, because when you put the known oil down, it's going to darken the blue, but it's also going to darken the silver. And that is going to save you a step later from doing the blue armor first and then doing the silver trim. But like I said, I'm going to do all of that in a tutorial. So if you guys want to see how I paint up one of these guys using this miniature, that will be out soon. It's going to be available to channel members for a week before it's available to the public. So if you want to get in on that early, I hope you also consider becoming a channel member through that. That's the last time I'm going to plug channel membership. I do it so much because I really believe in it. I think as a platform, YouTube has made something pretty good with the channel memberships. All right, the last guy of the stream. Hopefully I can get it done before my iPad dies and kicks me out. And also, I don't know if you guys saw the shorts, but working with resin skulls from Green Stuff World and the brass chain, it's really cool. I was thinking of doing another one with some bloody skulls, doing it like across, my leader guy's helmet's falling off. Doing it across this guy's chest. I gotta super glue his helmet. And doing some giving him like a skull, a necklace of skulls, maybe. I don't know. Might be a little too busy. I wanted these guys to look more like soldiers rather than like a bunch of thugs. But I think they're gonna look good either way. Night Lords is everybody's like guilty pleasure legion. I feel like no matter what, you gotta be in a certain mindset to collect 1,000 Suns or Emperor's Children. But I think everybody can get behind like a little force of Night Lords. They're so much fun to paint, collect, and everybody's read the books. All right, last three before my iPad dies. Let's see if we can do it, chat. Let's see if we can do it. And again, I'm sorry, I'm focusing on what's right in front of me. iPad is right here to the side. So any chats that come up show up here for like 5 seconds and then they disappear. If you want your chat to have a better chance of me seeing it, then like a super chat, I think only costs like 99 cents. All right, here we go. The final transfers. Where did my transfer brush go? I have to use a different one. I like these Army Painter tweezers, but they're a little bit like they don't have as good springiness to it as other tweezers I've used. So you have to exert a little bit more pressure with your hand. God, these. Here we go. Yeah, so like I said, you're holding holding the transfer, oh, sorry, get my hand out of the way. Holding the transfer to the miniature, taking your brush hand, holding the edge down onto the miniature,